October, exchange rate regulation may cause initial hardship. Likewise, we have a rider from the Nation newspaper too. Buhari knocks opposition for force 2023 pulls narrative. Likewise, another rider, fresh pulsers as Sirica unveils Nigeria airplane. That is a positive. Then we have another rider from the same paper saying El-Rufai sacks Kaduna Assembly Clerk Permanent Secretary, one other. And we have Shetima's nomination. You are Medicine Interloper, Supreme Court slams PDP. Likewise, another one, armed robbers snatched $11 million from Ogun businessman. From the point today, we have court clears Tinubu for Monday inauguration. PDP LP gears up for legal issue. Then the Guardian newspaper has this one: make Nigeria livable, solve our problems, skills tell incoming government, that is at the federal and state level. Likewise, from the Nation newspaper, we have a rider. Yes. Let us move on to Vanguard. Vanguard today says it's Jagaban o'clock. That is a good cartoon. Then Supreme Court refuses to stop Tinubu's inauguration. Those are a few of the things. Let us look at the hard copy of Saturday Tribune and look at a few of the stories that are contained in the paper today. We have the headline saying Buhari's wife demands pension for ex-first ladies, says Nigeria unfair to wives of ex-president. Abacha's widow relieves life as soldier's wife. Yes, the outgoing First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, yesterday declared that certain privileges, including payment of stipends, should be accorded to wives of the nation's presidents after the expiration of their husband tenures. Mrs. Buhari made the demand at the launch of a book in Abuja authored by the President of the Defense and Police Officers Wives Association, Mrs. V.K. Awuli Irabo, titled The Journey of a Military's Wife. The outgoing First Lady listed some such privileges to include the provision of vehicles, sponsored medical treatment, provision of some stipends, among others. Likewise, we have another one. Supreme Court clears way for Tinubu's inauguration, dismisses PDP's appeal. Article says is fighting on. The Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal brought before it by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) seeking the disqualification of the President-elect Senator Bola Tinubu and the Vice President-elect Senator Kazim Shettima of the All Progressive Congress (APC) from participating in the February 25 presidential election. In a unanimous judgment of the Apex Court delivered by Justice Adamu Jauro, the court held that the PDP has no local standard, that is the right to file a legal action against an internal affair of the APC. Likewise, we have Buhari receives asset declaration form, direct outgoing official to pick theirs. Outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari has said that is strict adherent to the constitutional requirement of asset declaration before and after taking office is aimed at strengthening best practices, raising moral standard, public service, helping to build integrity and combating corruption. He stated this upon collecting his form from Professor Isa Mohammed, the chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau in Abuja. The president has consequently he has directed that all outgoing officials elected and appointed from the vice president downward must collect the asset declaration form, fill and return it as he has done. Buhari said no one is excluded from the constitutional duty of asset declaration. Yes, that is for that. Let us move on to another one. I am desperate to exit power on Monday, credited to President Muhammadu Buhari has declared that the opposition created the impression that the ruling All Progressive Congress was an incompetent political party that put the country in a mess. He also said that he was desperately looking forward to hand over on Monday. That is for that. The federal government unveils Nigeria Air, says it is partnership with Ethiopian Airlines. And we have the Minister of Aviation, Adi Sirika, has said that he has unveiled the national carrier Nigeria Air, taking delivery of one aircraft. Speaking at the unveiling at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Sirika said about 35 aircraft are expected to come into the fleet of the Nigeria carrier within the next 5 years. I hope we have that one is a plus to Nigeria. Likewise, we want to look at court. Abuja court orders litigants, lawyer to pay tribute. APC 17 million naira for seeking to stop president-elect's inauguration. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has imposed a fine of 17 million naira on 3 litigants and their lawyer for filing a frivolous suit, that is according to them, seeking to stop the inauguration of the president-elect Bola Tinubu. Justice James Omotosho imposed the fine on the praise Illuminati, Pastor Paul Isaac Audu and Dr. Anogu Moses, who jointly filed the suit, praying for an order to halt the Monday 29 swearing-in of Tinubu as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. When we go further, we are going to see more of a story that are very, very germane to mankind. Let's come from Oyo State. From Oyo State, where we have the governor saying that Makinde has sent to amended Oyo Chief's law. We yearned for the amendment of 8 years. That is Olubadan in council says that. The Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has signed into law the amended Chief's Law, Cap 28 Law of Oyo State of Nigeria 2000 at the Executive Council Chamber of the Governor's Office, State Secretariat Ibadan. It will be recalled that the State House of Assembly on Wednesday passed the bill into law. Amendment to the law include the subsection 1 of section 28, which entitled read, the governor may cause such inquiry to be held at such times and in such places and by such person or persons as it or he may consider necessary or desirable. That is little about it. Then Tinubu's inauguration, police divert traffic in Abuja. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has disclosed that it will divert traffic ahead of the inauguration of the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday. The command implored the residents not to panic ahead of inauguration if proposed fireworks. In a statement in Abuja by the FCT Police Public Relations Officer Josephine Ade, the command said, consequent to the forthcoming 2023 presidential inauguration scheduled for May 29, the FCT Police Command has deployed human and material resources across the nooks and crannies of the Federal Capital Territory to ensure a safe and peaceful inauguration. That was the little we have for you today. We have many more of that, but we have more other programs we are going to go. We are going to join you after this short break.
welcome back. If you just joined us, it is still the Saturday morning treat, and we are on our first guest platform. And today we will be discussing the 6-month administration of Governor Ademola Adeleke in Osun State, the journey so far. Yes, we have a guest in the house who will be doing this for us. But before then, let's quickly watch this report. Of November 2022, when Governor Ademola Adeleke was sworn in as the 6th governor of Osun State, he promised Osun people that he will fulfill his electoral promises to them with focus on the delivery of good governance to the citizenry. His developmental programs, which he unfolded, were based on a 5-point agenda, which include welfare of workers and pensioners, boosting the state's economy, homegrown infrastructure policy, people-focused policy on education, affordable health care, security and social welfare, as well as industrialization for wealth and job creation.
Our administration is committed to ensure people-based development. Our vision is to enthrone tech-based agro-industrial growth in our state. We plan to address the infrastructure deficit with a cost-effective, home-based and labor-intensive program. To our people in the diaspora, we are opening up the state for partnership in education, health, trade, investment and tech innovations. We are creating the enabling environment for multiple cooperation to put our state on the global map of development.
True to his words, Governor Ademola Adeleke hit the ground running and has so far touched every sphere of life of the people in the first 6 months of his administration. The governor rolled out massive road construction and rehabilitation across the 3 senatorial districts that made up the state, and also ensured the continuation and completion of road projects abandoned by previous administration in the state. These include the commencement of payment of salary arrears inherited from past administrations to workers and pensioners in Osun State. Some senior citizens who spoke in separate interviews with OSBC News, including Chief Wale Oyeniyi, Mr. Kola Buhari, and Alhaji Salau Ganiyu, stated that Governor Ademola Adeleke has displayed a rare quality and common among politicians in this part of the world by ensuring that abandoned projects are resuscitated.
He has surprised me, especially in terms of road network and payment of salaries and arrears. Look at it. Somebody spent 8 days, he owed workers 15 months salaries. 15 months. That is 1 year and 3 months. Another one came, spent 4 years, didn't pay kobo. And he has come now and has paid 2 months. That's sincerity of purpose, That's what we call good governance.
When you come on board as a leader, governor, or whatever, political leader, you have to come and serve the people. And once you are serving them, it means, one, their interests, their welfare, their security must be taken care of. So once you are doing that, it means you are in sync with people's choice, decision, and expectations. And I think so far, this government is trying. The payment of salary arrears, very encouraging, especially the pensioners. I'm also a pensioner anyway. It's a very good development and is a welcome one.
All pensioners are enjoying proceeding from in their homes, because formerly we weren't able to access our food or drugs. But since he has started, every pensioner is happy and we are appreciative of his efforts. We wish him more grease to his elbows.
Besides the construction of 20 kilometers of roads across Osun State, the governor has also completed and commissioned Osogbo-Ikirin Road, which is already wearing a new look with functional solar-powered streetlights. The coordinating director, Ministry of Works, Engineer Olushola Ajao, stated that every part of the state will feel the impact of the government through massive road construction.
We are all over the state. We have noticed some developments in the state capital, Osogbo, in Ede, Ikirun, Ila, Iwo, Ifle-Ife, all over, Ilesha, all over the state we are there doing one thing or the other, particularly on road construction. I must tell you that in the last few months, particularly when the new administration came in on board. The administration of Senator Ademola Johnson Norudin Adeleke, he had embarked on a number of development that people are clamoring for. Not just doing it, but what the people really need is what we had embarked upon.
These are besides other notable projects in the health sector, such as the Imole surgical and medical outreach, which thousands of people have benefited from. These unprecedented, life-changing programs of Governor Adeleke has endeared him to the people who have continued to pray for him and assured him of their support at all times. Some of those who spoke with OSBC News in Oshogbo, Ikirun and Ede, including Mrs. Nike Odeyemi, Mrs. Omolara Oloyede, Mr. Lukman Ojewale, commended the governor for showing the people the real meaning of good governance. They maintain that the street lights have helped in beaming lights in the areas at night, thereby curtailing the activities of criminals who hide in darkness to perpetrate evil.
For the way they do this work, I'm very happy because I see that Ikirun have been coming like Lagos now. So everything in civilizer have already been coming to our town at Ikirun. We thank the governor for his efforts about this Ikirun, and we still pray for him that may God raise his hand so that he may do better than this. It will help my business to be going on more than before, so I will be selling very well.
Inú mi dùn. Kọ́lọ́run kó tún mọ mú wọn tẹ̀síwájú.
We appraise our governor came in from another party and still continue the work of abandoned party left down. He do the work and he bring the people of the area to appreciate that, to let people know that so the government is a government. So we appraise him very well.
I appreciate our governor for the thing. We are expecting this thing for the long time, but the past governor not do anything about it. We thank God for making it possible to do the work.
The respondents, however, advised Governor Ademola Adeleke to continuously keep the lights shining and ensure that his name remains permanently written in gold, adding that posterity will never forget him. Oluchi Amuda.
Yes, you are welcome back on to the studio of Saturday Morning Trees. As we have told you that we are going to have a guest today, and the front line, that is the first guest is now around. Is the former Commissioner of Police, Commissioner of Justice, and Attorney General of Osun State. And one of the brains behind the success, that is the legal successes of Governor Ademola Adeleke since more than 4 years ago, and he is still in the struggle till the success is achieved. Then it's a very popular man in the balance of law. Barrister Niji Ogunlade, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here once again.
Yes, 6 months down the line. How has it been?
Thank you very much. Before I answer that question, please permit me to congratulate OSBC for being nominated in the inaugural celebration of BON, Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria. I was surprised when I saw OSBC being one of the nominees in the news category, which was eventually won by Arise News. However, it's important to note that not even Lagos Broadcasting Corporation nor Ogun Broadcasting Corporation, these are news outlets that even this DSTV, but for OSBC to be one of the nominees, we have to congratulate management and staff of OSBC. And I hope that sooner than later you win, even though you were nominated this time around. Then having said that, yes, has it been. First and foremost, we have to thank the Almighty God. Senator Ademola Adeleke was inaugurated on the 27th of November 2022. But of course, you are aware that we're in the Supreme Court and the court system, of course, that period which had to take. So thank God that eventually we emerged, and Governor Adeleke has now been verified as the authentic governor of Osun State. Yes, the journey so far, 6 months down the line. For me personally, it's difficult to say too much in that period. It's early days, because there's a time you plan. It's when you implement that you see what is coming up. However, even within the short period of the 6 months, one can still see what has happened in Osun State. The whole state has changed. There's a new spirit in town. People who were down last year, pre-July last year, now there is the life coming back. Governor Adeleke promised that the welfare of the people, that was number one, of his workers. And you can see that the 2 months arrears, salaries that have been paid, and of course pension. And when you look at the socio-economic, because it has impact on the lives of the people. And if you go down the line, you talk about the numerous road construction going on. How about the health sector, where we had the outreach? There's so many thousands of people, you know, health-wise, surgeries, even people coming from outside state, neighboring states of Ondo, Ekiti, Kwara, Kogi, and Oyo, coming to enjoy that health outreach to our people. And then if you move out from there, you go out to the educational sector, which you will soon see. I was in a presentation a couple of weeks ago where the aspect of our WAEC, we're now down the ladder. It's so sad. Osun, that should be the brain network of Nigeria, we're now at the bottom of WAEC. I was surprised when somebody said, Google it. You see that we're down the ladder. We were 9th under the last PDP government of Oyinlola, 9th position in WAEC. And suddenly, we started going down the ladder. We're now down at the bottom, wrong bottom. And I'm sure that this is something that Governor Adeleke has promised, that we'll have to make this better, you know. So for me, I think that the ideal time to start checking on the movement of somebody, we have here. When you have time, that is 2 years in office, then you will have seen all what have been planned and how this has been brought up. So it's early days, but even being early days, we can see ourselves from your presentation, you know, what he has done, all sectors. Look at the road network of being all parts of Osun. And the fact that the example of Osogbo to Ikirun Road, you know, that his predecessor was the one handling, you know, the contractor of his predecessor was the one handling it. And Governor Adeleke didn't care. He called the contractor, please, continue what you're supposed to do. Government is a continuum. And development, we can see that development is born in the mind of this governor. So I see a bright future. It's early days for us to concretize all that he has done, because you need time to germinate. When you conceive an idea, you develop the idea, for you now to implement and for the dividends, for the goodies to come out. So that will take some time. But so far, so good.
Thank you, sir. Before the last judgment, that was the Supreme Court, many people, particularly you politicians, you were apprehensive that we know that this thing is very well in law. Nobody can decide what is going to happen. But before that time, 100 days, you broke some grounds.
Yeah.
Some people think that possibly before, because of the Supreme Court, then after the Supreme Court, few days now, the strike still continuing like that. Then panic of people is that any moment from now, the governor is likely to know the names of commissioners and appointees. What do you think that people should be expecting?
No, I can't speak for that. I can't speak for that. It's the governor that can speak for that. But I'm sure that he has a pool across board that he can make use of, that he will be able to support him. And the concept, the ad hoc that has been taking place for the time will now be the full stream. You know, when you have full complement. I agree with what you said, that, you know, the team, you will now have his full team, and you will now have the full complement of those that will work for the good people of Osun, for his government and the good people of Osun, and that can take Osun to where we expect Osun to be, not, unfortunately, what has been the situation in the past few years.
Okay, when you talked about where we expect Osun to be, where exactly?
I know, I said earlier that we are blessed here. You know, Osun is so blessed. If only we know the extent of it, we are blessed. We should be thanking Almighty God every second. In human resources, in natural resources. In fact, the natural resources aspect continues to amaze me. Do you know we have diamond? Not only gold and so many mineral wealth across the state. We are blessed. And now look at the human resources at our disposal. So, Osun should be at the top, because this is the source of the Yoruba race. You know, this is where the Yoruba people across the globe, this is where we've come from. And we are the 9th in the world as an ethnic group. And we've gone across the globe. We are known to be talented. And we are known, in Yoruba they say, Anthony Lakai. We are blessed. If you are so blessed, then why should we be in the bottom? Why should we be down bottom? Why should we be down? Under any sphere, we should not be down. We should be at the top with the resources at our disposal. And that was why I mentioned that aspect, that when Governor Yola was there, and I was in that administration, we were 9th in WAEC. In fact, he brought it down from 13th to 9th, and we were going down. We would have been top, we were going towards, and then suddenly, when we left, when that government left, we went on. We became 28, we became 29, we became 30. Are we Samfara? This is not Samfara State. Oh, for Christ's sake, this is Osun State. We started going down the ladder.
So what really went wrong, sir?
Good question. And I don't want to be political here, but obviously the leadership, it depends on how you run the state. The running of the state, there must be question mark there, because the buck stops on the table of the captain. The captain of the ship must decide what direction and how you want everything to flow. So, when you talk of a society, when you talk of any government, you look at the top, you look at that government across the globe, not only in Nigeria. You look at who are the leaders, what have they brought to the table, because the followership will follow the direction of the leaders. And I came here once and I gave the example of when I was a student in London, and Murtala Mohammed took over from Yakubu Gawa, and that while I was there, the way our parents could send money to us is you take a letter from your college or your uni, you take it to the Nigerian embassy, who will then furnish you a letter which you will now send to your parents or your sponsors. So you now have from central bank, they will now, process your funds through that. It used to take us 3-4 months for us to get a letter from Nigerian embassy. 3-4 months. But when Murtala Mohammed took over as president, it was 1 week. Because those there in the embassy, in the High Commission in London, stood up. They knew that they could not, toy. That's the type of thing leadership students. When you have a leadership, the type of leaders that, you can sit from the direction. You sit from direction. It's like even in a home. If you have a home, the father and mother, they're out all day, all night. After a while, the children too, they say, well, this is all we met. You see a father beating his mother, his wife, batteredly, the likelihood that the child seeing that happening after a long time will start beating his own something when he grows up. So leadership will show the way forward. And I think that Governor Adeleke will prove that aspect. This is the 6th governor of Osun State. And nothing is perfect, but if you show dedication, purpose, when you show a direction, the people will follow. And I believe that, like I said, it's early days yet, 6 months. By the time it's half term, you'll be able to assess him properly. When it's 2 years, when you are 2 years old, you'll be able to have an idea what has happened in the 24-25 months preceding your takeover. So time will tell.
Thank you. As the custodian of former custodian of law in the state and still a guru in law, then what do you think that is going to be the expectation of the Osun State as we are crossing into another 6 months now?
Yeah, the expectations is that things will continue to improve. We expect
the rates. Is it in the same momentum, or it is going to double? Or?
No, it's going to double because now you have the full complement of his team. It will no longer be ad hoc. It will be the full complement of his team. And within his full complement of his team, and with what he has conceived in the 6 months, what he has garnered, what he intends to do, now he knows his way around. He has seen the situation of Osun. So with that and the full complement of his team, he will be able to, when I said that the beginning is early days, you conceive an idea, you want to, implementation now comes to the fore because you decided that this and this and this and this I intend to do. Then you have prioritized them. You know where the funds are. You know where the leakages are. You know your strengths. You know where the 1 or 2 other problems. You see, you are now in the saddle. You are now really in the saddle of the affairs of Osun State. That you now develop, and since you have prioritized, then obviously with your full complement, then the sky's the limit.
All right.
You roll up, you roll out.
Thank you very much. One of the major issues in Nigerian politics, many states of the country are actually dealing with the issue of limited resources.
Yeah.
Don't you think that will also be an issue here?
Resources, I agree that it will be an issue, but it depends on how you go after it. Okay. It's never enough. If you recall, the Governor Adeleke himself said that he's been able to, there was a question which he was asked some time ago, that he had been able to check the leakages. Where you have leakages, you try and block those leakages, you try and look for resources elsewhere. You try and re-engineer, the thinking. It's interesting, that question. All over the world, the leader plays a key role in how you get resources and how you implement your programs. And that's why I said you have to prioritize. I know that Governor Adeleke is beginning to see certain things. Part of where his resources will come in. A good example is the gold, which we have in, even though we know it's on the exclusive list, but we know there's much more in there than we had known before, that we had realized before. That bit, at least I know a bit about that. So there are so many things happening here, activities going on here, the resources going on here. That is an example of where these resources will come in. And when you re-engineer, you think out of the box. You feel that thinking out of the box, you can do so many things. Look at how Japan, let's give this as an example. Japan that was dealt with in the after Second World War, that was devastated. Atomic bombs, 2 dropped in the country. They had to start from the scratch. But because they were dedicated, Japan does not have any mineral resources, natural resources of note, like the crude oil, which will, in the 70s and the 80s, everybody would say crude oil, every country with crude oil, like in Saudi Arabia, they are the great giants now. But Japan became number 2 in the world as an economic power. It's currently number 3 because China has overtaken Japan. But became number 2 in the world without nothing much to play with. So the leadership, human resources can do a lot of wonders. And I'm sure that Governor Adeleke will commandeer that to be able to take us forward.
Nítorí àwọn ẹ̀tí ìrìn tí pé ká sọ èdè tiwantiwa láti bí tẹ̀ tàbí yẹn náà láti gbé àwọn ihò tí gómìnà yìí tó ti ń dí táwọn ẹ̀rí sí ibi tó ń dí ó dà pé ní kò jẹ́ kó máa jẹ́ pé òun wà máa ní àwọn èèyàn pẹ̀lú máa wáwó lẹ́nìgbìyà ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ihò tí ń dí àwọn kan náà wà ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ àwọn tí wọ́n wà níbi òyìn tó ń jẹ́ níbi mọ̀dàrí jẹ́ rò pé wọ́n lè gbógun tì í.
A lè fẹ́ yẹ kù àwọn tó bá máa gbógun ṣùgbọ́n tẹ́yàn bá jẹ́ akitiyan èèyàn ní ti Governor Adeleke tó dẹ̀ mọ nǹkan táwọn wá fún, ṣe é mọ̀ wípé oríṣiríṣi olórí ló wà. Nǹkan tí mo dẹ̀ rí nípa gómìnà ni pé Ọlọ́run wà pẹ̀lú rẹ̀ nítorí pé nǹkan tó ti go through pọ̀. Ṣe é mọ̀ pé ojú lásán kọ́ la fi win ní Supreme Court. Ọlọ́run ni rọ́pọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀, Ọlọ́run ni ẹ̀rù pé àwọn kan fẹ́ kó win ni, of course not, àwọn kan ò fẹ́ kó ṣe àṣeyọrí ṣùgbọ́n Ọlọ́run kò ṣe ni. Ó dẹ̀ jẹ́yàn kan tó níbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run tí mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé a máa wípé akitiyan yẹn pẹ̀lú Ọlọ́run lókè. Mi ò rí problem kankan, ìyẹn a lè fẹ́ yẹn kù pé káwọn kan máa fẹ́ kí àwọn nílọ síwájú àbí kí àwọn kan máa fẹ́ kó.
Nítorí a rí níbi ẹni tí ò ní bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ kankan.
Ó lè jẹ́ ara nǹkan tó tún ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ náà nìyẹn. Ó mà ní bọ́lá ọ̀hún máa ń ṣe nǹkan. Ó lè jẹ́ pé torí pé wọ́n ní bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ náà lọ́nà tó fi ràn lọ́wọ́ torí pé àwọn tó bá tó ní bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ ètò tó wọ́n máa ṣe bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ máa pọ̀. Ọmọ òṣèlú ìlágbára díẹ̀ tó bá ní bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ bí tó ní bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ tó yẹ pé bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ bá ń fẹ́ ló máa rí bá ń gbé kíní ẹ̀ jáde owó bìtá ìdìbò máa gbé jáde tó bá ti gbé jáde ìjà dé kí gbúdí táwọn ìjà máa wà ní pé ṣé mo fi jẹ́ èmi mo gbé ẹ débẹ̀ náà lọ wá fún bí àpẹẹrẹ tí bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ kọ́ máa kọ̀ nídìí bí 500 million tí ẹ̀ ò dẹ̀ ní lọ́wọ́ tí ò ní ó yẹ ibo lẹ́fẹ́ kí n rí ṣùgbọ́n bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ tó bá rí pé bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ gan máa rí jẹ́ kí n lọ wá jáde ara nǹkan tó ń pa iṣẹ́ lẹ́rù torí ẹ̀ ló ṣe dáa kí ọ̀ma ní bàbá àṣàlẹ̀.
Ẹ ṣe gan ni ẹ jẹ́ ká wá wo oṣù mẹ́fà tí Governor Adeleke ti fi wà ní Ọ̀ṣun tó ti fi ń darí níbo ni iṣẹ́ ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ gan níbo la táṣẹ́ dé báyìí.
A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè wípé bèrèbèrè oṣù mẹ́fà láti tó èmi rò pé oṣù mẹ́fà kéré láti máa assess nítorí bẹ́ẹ̀ni ṣe máa ń ronú kan báyìí ni pé at least pé kó dàbí bíi ìdajì half time bí ọdún méjì lèèyàn máa lè sọ pé ìbò náà báṣẹ́ dé dáadáa ṣùgbọ́n ní oṣù mẹ́fà ṣe é mọ̀ pé gómìnà tó bá ṣe wà bẹ́ẹ̀ lóṣù mẹ́fà ideas tó gbogbo nǹkan tó fẹ́ ṣe wọ́n á máa fi lọ́lọ́ wọ́n máa fi sílẹ̀ ni fún gbogbo nǹkan yẹn láti hàn dáadáa a máa ní ìdí oṣù mẹ́fà lọ ṣùgbọ́n láàrin oṣù mẹ́fà tí gómìnà wa yìí sì ṣe a sì ní kan bíbélì láti tọwọ́ sí fún bí àpẹẹrẹ owó àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ wa àti àwọn tó ti fẹ̀yìntì gómìnà sọ níbẹ̀rẹ̀ priority number one àwọn nìyẹn ó dẹ̀ múṣẹ́ àwọn tó ń jẹ lówó àwọn tó owó oṣù tó ń jẹ àwọn tó tún wá san wọ́n dẹ̀ wọ owó yẹn san ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń sọ pé àwọn ò ní fi ọ̀rọ̀ òṣìṣẹ́ ṣeré owó òṣìṣẹ́ wọ́n múṣẹ́ ṣe pé wọ́n promise wọ́n ní àwọn ìṣe àwọn ò ní mú wọn fi ṣeré wọ́n múṣẹ́ máa tẹ̀ tún sọ̀kan fún yín nígbà tí mò ń sọ̀rọ̀ ní èdè òyìnbó nípa ara iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe irú operation tá à ń pè ní outreach tó ń ṣe tí mo pè neighboring states wà ìbá àwọn dókítà àwọn tó ń ṣe àwọn tó ń ṣe yẹn wọ́n padà wá àwọn tó ń ṣe yẹn wọ́n padà wá wọ́n ní báyìí hazard allowance gómìnà ti approve ẹ̀ so gbogbo àwọn tó wà ní kí bàbá wọn máa gba hazard allowance wọ́n dẹ̀ fi ara pé gómìnà ronú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ wọn náà nìyẹn ẹ wá wo ọ̀rọ̀ ti ọ̀nà tó ti ṣe gbogbo ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ní ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan wọ́n ti ń ṣe ọ̀nà tẹ bá dẹ̀ rí ti ẹ̀wọ̀rú ti Òṣogbo sí Ìkìrun àwọn iṣẹ́ tó ti filẹ̀ tó ń ṣe mọ́ gómìnà tí kò padà kó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pàṣẹ gómìnà yóò ronú pé kọ́nglá tí ìjọba àná àti ìyẹ́ta tó ń gbélẹ̀ wọ́n máa ń ṣe kí ní ìjẹ́kí tó fi kọ́nglá tì mí sí rárá wọ́n kọ́nglá yẹn wá síbẹ̀ wá parí iṣẹ́ ọmọ iṣẹ́ lọ ṣé ọpẹ́ tó bá nífẹ̀ẹ́ Òṣogbo máa ṣe ń kọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ wípé kí ìdàgbàsókè kó lè dé papọ̀ bó ṣe ń wà ní health sector náà ló wà ní àwọn wọ́pọ̀ tó ń ṣe káàkiri ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun so nítorí náà èmi rò pé iṣẹ́ ń lọ dáadáa ìdàgbàsókè ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí dé sí ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ṣùgbọ́n àámọ̀ sí nítorí pé implementation ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ pé nǹkan tá a lá máa ṣe kò síbẹ̀ ẹ̀bẹ̀rẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n tó lè fi yọ dáadáa jáde ẹ jẹ́ kó ní bí oṣù mélòó sí wáyé.
ẹ jẹ́ ká wo tọ̀dọ̀ àwọn dókítà tí wọ́n lọ fún strike níbi ọjọ́ mélòó kan nísìn tọ̀sùn irú ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun ò lọ Ọ̀ṣun ò bá wọn strike ṣé gómìnà ṣẹ́tù àwọn ọmọ lábẹ́lé ní tó jẹ́ pé ní gbogbo Nàìjíríà Ọ̀ṣun nìkan ni ó lọ.
ṣé rí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹjọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo mọ̀ dáadáa nípa nítorí pé mo wà bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn dókítà yẹn wá àwọn executive wọ́n béèrè fún hazard allowance governor approve wọ́n béèrè fún àwọn allowances kan tó ti wà ńlẹ̀ governor approve tó bá jẹ́ èyí kọ́ tí gómìnà tó kọ́ tí wọ́n ní wọ́n yẹ kó ṣe fún wa tọ́lẹ̀ ṣe fún wa àwọn náà ṣiṣẹ́ wa tiwa náà so àwọn dókítà àwọn kí náà ìjọba gidi kan lè yọ.
ẹ ṣe àkókò tí kò àkókò àmọ́ àṣùgbọ́n kí a tó lọ kí ni ó yẹ kó jẹ́ ìrètí àwọn ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun báyìí kí ni ìrètí wọn fún ọjọ́ iwájú pẹ̀lú gbogbo ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń lọ.
ìlọsíwájú development ìlọsíwájú nígbà tí èèyàn bá ní gómìnà tó ń ronú àwọn èèyàn pé báwọn ni ìpínlẹ̀ wa ṣe máa ga jù báyìí lọ ó di dandan kí gbogbo akitiyan gbogbo plans gbogbo kìíní ìlọsíwájú ni.
kò dẹ̀ ní ti pé ìdààmú ló mú wa ká má ṣe lè ká má ṣe lè.
ṣé ẹ pé mo sọ ní èdè òyìnbó mo ní you think out of the box níbi tí ìṣòro díẹ̀ bá ti wà tàrí pé ìṣòro yìí ọ̀tá bá lọ léyìí ọlọ́run ló fún wa ní kíní yìí o ṣe pé ilé ò ṣeé ṣe tá bá lọ léyìí lọ tá bá lọ léyìí lọ tá a dẹ̀ gbàdúrà sọ́lọ́run ọlọ́run àbá wa ṣe ó ní mo ṣe give example ti Japan tí mo sọ lédè òyìnbó pé tí ò ní kankan tó ti dàrú tó lẹ̀ ní number 2 economic power in the world torí àwọn èèyàn leaders tó lọ léyìí ó ní ló fà ó náà ládẹ̀ ṣe sọ pé ní ọ̀dọ̀ wa ń bí lágbára ọlọ́run pẹ̀lú ìsowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn èèyàn wa kó support ìjọba gómìnà Adeleke pẹ̀lú sincerity of purpose pé báyìí ó yẹ ká ṣe fún àwọn èèyàn wa tí ò kì í ṣe pé bẹ́ẹ̀ gan ṣe sọ tẹ́lẹ̀ rí màá bọ̀ tó mọ example ẹ̀yà ni tí ò kí mo ní godfather kan bí kan máa lọ kó kọ́ fún o ní kankan tó máa kó ibi ló ti máa kó fún àwọn èèyàn wa ibi làwọn èèyàn wa ti máa gbádùn kì í ṣe ṣótiyé yìí.
Thank you very much. That was the former Commissioner of Police, Commissioner of Justice and Attorney General of Osun State, and one of the brain behind the successes of Governor Ademola Adeleke. May your mercy be with you. That is Abarisani Owolade. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we thank you very much also for congratulating OSBC for breaking the ground, and you pray for OSBC God will make it possible in the next rating. We will appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always nice to be here. This broadcasting corporation has made the entire people of Osun proud. Being nominated by board. No. I think we should give you all the credit and we should give you all the support so that next time you'll be the winner.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, this is where we're going to draw the curtain on the first guest platform on the Saturday monitoring. Please don't go away. The program continues. Yes, you are welcome back. Welcome to the second guest platform on the Saturday Morning Treats. Today, we will be discussing a very important issue also. A very, very important one. On Monday, there will be a change of governance. President Muhammadu Buhari will be handed over to the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Yes, a lot of people have actually said that he is going to be making very, very tough decisions based on things that are already on ground. The kind of economy he will be inheriting from President Buhari and all sorts. So this morning we'll be looking at the challenges before the President-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. And please, our guest.
Our guest is He's an analyst and a scholar, because he's an academic who knows the nitty-gritty of governance and in terms of analysis. Then that is Mr. Lekan Ogunyemi, the man of the house. Thank you very much.
He's also a friend of the house.
Thank you for having me. To God be the glory for being here.
All right. The 8-year administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is gradually winding down. You know, he's almost out. Come Monday, the 29th of May, he will be handed over to another president. How do you feel seeing the administration over?
To God be the glory that we started some 8 years ago, and you know, when he was about to be elected, he promised everything. For today, I think we can all say what we have on ground. But one thing is that you know, there is time for everything. The time to become the president and the time to exist. But when we look at the last minute of this administration, it doesn't look as if you are having the same party taking over from the party. For instance, the build-up for 3 months ago, are we talking about borrowing? When you assume that another president that is coming is from your party, we have $800 million $1 million that they said they will be taken to at least pushing the effect of subsidy. But a lot of things are happening. And when you look at that particular regime, he built the regime on 3 cardinal programs. He was talking about the economy, he was talking about security and fighting corruption. I think Nigerians, if you have score sheets and you want to give the president marks on those 3 things, the economy to me is in shambles. When we look at it, are we talking about the inflationary rates? Are we talking about the exchange rates? Are we talking about unemployment, scarcity of food due to Boko Haram, insurgency and what have you, killing and maiming of farmers and what have you? Then when we move to security, we can all see how we are well secured in Nigeria today. We have banditry in the northern part. In terms of terrorism and counter-terrorism and what have you, we call it any other thing, whether Boko Haram, whether terrorist group, because we didn't agree that it was a terrorist movement. We can now see. When you go to the southeast, we have what we call unknown and known gunmen killing people here and there. You know, the build up to the election, it was terrible. When you come back to the southwest, you have ritual killing, kidnapping, maiming, raping, and what have you. So when we look at all these things, the economy, the security, and fighting corruption, we can see the president started that he will fight corruption, but at a stage, he now said corruption is now fighting back. When you see members of a particular party who they claimed had destroyed the economy of this country, whom they claim that they have taken away all the money and what have you, but by the time they move to another party, they become saints. So is that how to? So on these 3 pedestals, when we look at it critically, you can see that we have not moved an inch. It's a kind of progressive decline in terms of the economy, in terms of the security, and in terms of fighting corruption. So on those 3, he picked 3 areas, just like the Awolowos in those days would say, okay, these are the 4 cardinal programs of our party, and they will pursue it to the logical end. But as far as this one is concerned, I don't know where to at least pick. But definitely, I thank God that God has ordained another man from the same party coming in. So let's see. And it's not going to be a question, oh, it was that party that destroyed the economy. Oh, it was that party that sponsored Boko Haram. Oh, the corruption we could not fight because of this and that. So now that we are having from the same party, then let's look at it. But the challenges, maybe when we get there, yes, we have to look at the challenges. These are those 3 things and some other areas.
Okay, let us look at the issue of our security. Some people will summarize every problem based on security, that if the security is good, then the economy, education, every other facet of human endeavor will be alright. Then we have seen that even security is crumbling in Nigeria. Then during the time of a major general, then we have a minister who doesn't do much about it. What do you think that we should be expecting?
You see, being a major general is not the issue this time around. I think we are looking at the capacity and capability of an individual to deliver. You can be Olóyè ló máa ń kéré, oyè kéré. You can be Balogun and cannot kill rats. So when he was coming in, I think we were all believing that this one there won't be any this and that. But it's one thing is for you to be a major general and deploy all those things that you have planned in order to fight a particular cause. But when you are a major general and you have certain hidden agenda within you, the president declared, unfortunately, recently, that if anybody in Nigeria should raise anything against him, he has Nigeria Republic to. So a major general with divided loyalty. He knew that whatever happens to Nigeria, then you will get a place to run to. So, and you are not talking about a major general who is having hidden agenda. The way you look at it, can you open his mind and say, okay, if you are disturbing me, I will go to the J Republic. So it's not a question of major general. People, presidents of America, though some of them have been in the army, the forces and what have you, as part of the conscription and as part of the experience. But at the end of the day, you say it is the ability to organize, ability to plan, ability to supervise, ability to take reports, ability to budget well, ability to ensure that the budgetary provision for security is well spent, not that it will go to the cost of some people, and above all, the will to the capacity, political capacity to discharge. You see, and you know one thing is that as soon as Mr. becomes the president, he now becomes the president and commander-in-chief of armed forces. So the ability to at least plan for the armed forces in order to take up the challenge, the security challenges, the ability to organize them, and definitely you know that you can, when you get into a particular, you have the technocrats who will do this. You have the inspector general, you have the DSS, you have all the paraphernalia of the military, the armed forces, they are there. So once you are a commander-in-chief and you are able to give out order in such a way that you achieve the desired result, then that will be effective. But even when you can be field marshal, at the end of the day, when you have something hidden in your mind, you will not be able to discharge if something is happening somewhere. Look at sometimes the president said the IGP should move to a particular state where there was crisis and what have you. But some months later, and you said an IGP didn't go. And where is the command? Where is the military man in it? So at the end of the day, when people now say, okay, he said he didn't know. No feedback. No feedback. You see, Eastern theory, you see, you generate input from the society, you process the input, and at the end of the day, you send it back, then you get feedback. And he said he didn't know as the president and commander-in-chief. So perhaps Mr. may be able to at least look at all those things, but Mr. only will not, he's not the only Mr. that will do it. Commitment, zeal to improve things, capacity to deliver, ability to deliver, KSA about the whole thing, then you have, it's going to bring up a team in every aspect of what we have mentioned. Whether security, you need a team. As a president, you cannot be running here and there for all these things. Whether you are talking about the economy, you cannot understand everything about the economy. So when you have a team and you get reports, you get feedback, you give them instruction, then you monitor. So at the end of the day, you'll be able to at least achieve. But this time around, if you are selective in your approach, when you look at some of the ministries, you look at education industry, for instance, NUC, go and find out who is the head. NBT, go and find out. NCC, go and find out. UBEC, go and find out. Look at all these things. When you are basing these things on ethnic chauvinism, ethnic consideration, at the end of the day, you put the worst people in a particular political position because you want them to be there because you are kinsmen. But ability to perform, those who have the KSA, put them there. So they'll be able to map out things, and the country will move forward.
Sir, as an analyst, sorry, you know who is Bola Tinubu, at least with the 8 years as governor. Do you think that he has the capacity and the charisma to take care of this?
You yourself, you have capacity and everything. Though being in the saddle, he has been a politician, a senator, a former Lagos State governor, and what have you. I want to believe that talking about capacity, he must have learned certain things when he was governor. But don't let us base the performance as a governor of a state to Nigeria, because we are talking about a complex society. Nigeria is a difficult and a very complex society.
And that brings me to
yes.
Because when President Buhari was, actually being presented to Nigerians in 2015, they based his capacity and capability to his everything he did when he was a military man. Now, a new civilian administration is coming on board, and Nigeria is in a huge debt. The debt profile keeps rising every day. Now, let's see, how do you think this will actually, affect the implementation of the policies? Because talking about capacity now, Bola Tinubu has his own programs. He has his own programs that he has promised Nigerians. With the huge debt profile, don't you think it will be a huge hindrance to him?
You see, when I was trying to look at the Lagos performance and what have the ability to generate this, he was able to move the revenue base of Lagos to a high pedestal, and that Lagos is now building on that to generate more funds, because if you have generate funds, then but now when we look at the issue of debt profile, it is disheartening. Let's look at before this government took over in 2015 and compare it to what we have. You see, in public finance, debt, that is getting loans and what have you, is part of public finance. You can use loans to finance certain things. But at the end of the day, that project must be an economically viable project, not a project with dubious economic implications to Nigerians. And when you look at all the money that we are taking, let us assess what have we done with this quantum of debt that we have. He said they took it from railway, whatever, from China, from what have you. Are we having it on ground? That's one thing. You continue to be paying, and generation get unborn, you consume now and you pay later. That shows that you are trying to mortgage tomorrow. From the debt profile, let us situate it with this now as a challenge, yes, because it's one of the things ahead that provides part of the economy. Now, at the end of the day, $800 million taken to send to less privileged Nigerians. We wouldn't know how those people that will come out and say, okay, I've collected the money. How do you assess? How do you evaluate the performance of that money? Because there is a need for you to evaluate everything you are doing, even as an individual. You look at yourself, okay, this money that I have taken, has it achieved the desired objective? You want to elevate people, and you want to cushion the effect of the subsidy that you are able to remove. We don't know where we are going. We don't know whether they will need more. And $800 million now, how much are they building refineries, modular refineries? Use this money to build it, so that you reduce the money that you are paying to this faceless subsidy that you are paying. So, but definitely the debt profile will affect. It doesn't need, you don't need to be have Solomonic wisdom to know that the debt profile will affect the performance. Because look at, now you are going to use the larger chunk of your money to satisfy to service debt. When you continue, as let's look at ourselves. If you are a worker, you have cooperative here, A, B, C, D, about 5, and you have taken loan from all these cooperatives. That shows that you are going to be using your salary to satisfy the debt. Then when your woman says, okay, we need groundnut oil, you say, no, not groundnut oil, it's coconut oil that you buy. It will affect.
As an economist and the lecturer of economy, then if you are able to meet with that, which advice do you think that you can offer to me, so that all these implications will not
on is it on debt, on the economy? On the economy. You see, the economic situation in Nigeria is trying to reject all the preferred solution because of the lack of will. One thing is that when you look at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, there is these directive principles of state policy. And when you look at the economic policy, they said all the resources must be gathered together, put in one pot, and must be used to satisfy all Nigerians, for the economic prosperity of everybody. You see, when you look at it, our income, do we know our income? Oil, we have monocultural economy. It is oil, 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 oil. But from that oil, do we know how much we are generating? Because if you fail to, the advice you said is for Mr. President to look at how to block the leakages. But to do that, is there any political will? NNPC, how much are you selling? At times they will tell you that they are not making profit. At times they will tell you that they have spent billions of dollars to put a particular refinery in place, and at the end of the day, what they have made will not even be 1% or 10% of what they have spent on it. Can Dangote be running it like that? Can any be running business like that? So one thing is that Mr. President should look for ways. Look at custom and what have you, our porous borders here and there. If you can annex, the first thing is that maybe the magic is used in Lagos to generate, to increase the revenue base, because there is no way now. We need to increase our revenue base, block the leakages. The leakages is even more than, the leakages are more than what is going to the national ports every day. Look at what the VAT they are generating in Lagos. NNPC and all other people that are bringing money to the national port, God will give him the way and the capacity to block. But when you want to do that, those people will fight back like wounded lion. All right.
Our time is really fast, but before you go, before we move to the Yoruba aspect of it,
okay.
Yes, you have advised the president-elect on what to do concerning the economy. Now, what is your advice to Nigerians? Because now people are expecting that yes, once the new government takes over, probably a bag of rice will go back to 10, 15,000 and all that. Is it going to be so fast? Will the impact be felt immediately?
You see, I pray that God will give him the opportunity to correct all the imbalances that we have in the economy and what have you. But I think it's beyond rice. The economy we are talking about is the rice and beans.
Actually, I know. The inflationary trend.
The trend, inflationary
when you take
trend.
Money to the market now, it buys nothing.
The trend now is that we need to look at what is the problem with the trend. You see, it's exchange rate. Exchange rate is the problem of rice becoming 30,000 or what have you when you close border and what have you. But one thing is that we pray that this thing will come down, but let us look inward. Nigerians, we should try as much as possible to be looking inward at times. I want to say that we don't need importation of most of these items. Like you are bringing turkey, we have producers of eggs. And if it is possible, people will import egg. So let us look inward. If you want to support the government, let's look inward. We have to, although it's even more, it's costlier than whatever, but let us look inward. Let us be more productive. Nigeria is a consuming economy. The marginal propensity for us to consume is higher than that of investment. And people are not going to farm. By the time you should encourage people going to farm, when there will be no Boko Haram to at least destroy their plants and what have you, then it is not only rice. Prices of other goods, you have yams, if they can be massively produced. Benue is the food market basket of Nigeria. we used to get yams and what have you. But almost every farmer, all the farmers are being killed by this. If you can block all those things, then I think the issue of rice coming down to, well, God will make it. But imported rice, I don't eat. But because I don't eat, that is not to say that people who are our children that will be eating, they should not be denied. But to check inflationary rate, it is more than what we are thinking. The quantum of dollars that we need to bring all these things, you bring rice, you bring oil, you bring toothpick, you bring imported tomato, you bring imported whatever, and now we are bringing and imported of everything that everybody is. All these things are eating deep into the exchange rates. For we to have a balanced trade, the level of imports and level of export, you must look at it. But the level of import is far higher. Nigerians will want to ride the car. When you see some people, that car, he bought it 25 million naira. I say, what for?
Ẹ ṣe gan ni ẹ jẹ́ ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ níbi tí ìparí síbẹ̀ ẹ ní nǹkan tí à ń gbé wọlé ní Nàìjíríà.
Púpọ̀ jù.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká wá wo nǹkan iye tí ó máa ń ná àwọn tó bá fẹ́ ṣe nǹkan ní Nàìjíríà. Ẹ̀yin lẹ máa ra iná fúnra yín, ẹ̀ rè kó tó wọn, ẹ̀ ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀. Iná tí ò sí tẹ́tí wọn máa sanwó fún. Àwọn nǹkan máa ń wò pé àtàbá kúkú gbé wọlé látòkè kún ó tún máa ń lọlẹ̀ sí ẹ̀hẹ́n. Kí ni ibo lẹ fẹ́ kíjọba mójútó gan? Tẹ́pẹ́ ẹni tó bá wá dúró pé mo fẹ́ dá lé iṣẹ́ lẹ̀ o, owó tó máa náà ò ní pọ̀.
Ẹ ṣe rí amúkan ẹrù ẹ wọ àní ìsàlẹ̀ là ń wò àbí àwo òkè là ń wò àwòsàlẹ̀ ibi tó ti wọ́ wá. Ṣe rí ọ̀rọ̀ iná ṣe mọ̀ pé àgbọn kan nìyẹn nínú ètò ọrọ̀ ajé, torí kò sí bí ẹ ṣe fẹ́ ṣe ètò ọrọ̀ ajé tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá ní tó ń pè ní energy, nǹkan àmúṣagbára. Ṣe mọ̀ pé epo náà ààrẹ energy ni, iná ọba energy láti 1999 lẹ́jọ́ àbọ̀bá ọjọ́ ti wà ẹ bá wòye tí a ti ná lórí ìpèsè iná ńgbò tún yá ẹni kádà àwọn kan lẹ̀ kan máa lọ ṣòkòtò ọba lẹ̀ à ń gbá létí bá gbá nímú tinú ẹ̀ ni ó ṣe. Ṣé Nàìjíríà náà kan tí wọ́n ti mú àwọn tó tún wá ń èmi ní kinní kan mi ìfẹ́ dárúkọ iléeṣẹ́ àwọn tó ń ṣe náà bá ṣé ìṣe Nàìjíríà náà wà ṣé ìṣe ọmọ Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n tún ti oríṣiríṣi bọ̀ ẹ̀ sanwó fún tẹ́ẹ̀rà. So ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní pé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan báyìí ló pé wọ́n ń kó nǹkan wọlé ayé ṣe pé ká máa kó nǹkan wọlé ní tá a bá lè ṣe ṣó orí wa pé pẹ̀lú pé ká máa kó epo lọ sọ́hùn ká tún máa kó wọlé ṣé orí wa ṣe kó jẹ́ pé bí a bá lo fóònù a lè lo fóònù ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tí a lò kó jẹ́ nǹkan tó reasonable kẹ́nìkan ó lòun lo fóònù 2.5 million naira kí ní kan mi wúwo orí dọ́là yìí náà ni mọ́tò náà ní tẹ́ bá kú jẹ́ kí ní àpè kan má lò wọ́n á lẹ́lòmíì ó ra mọ́tò 300 million naira orí dọ́là yìí náà ni torí ẹ̀ pèsè ẹ̀ bí ẹ wo iye nǹkan tẹ́ fi ìyẹn kó ń ló ń fa kí owó dọ́là yìí kó máa gòkè ń ló fi tó ń jẹ́ nǹkan tó jẹ́ oúnjẹ bíi ráìsì nǹkan kan bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí nígbà wáyé pé dọ́là náà ni ló ń fọ ẹ̀bẹ̀ náírà náà ló ń fara gbá wọ́n kàn ń lù mọ́lẹ̀ ní lójoojúmọ́ ló ń di àbùrún mú ṣùgbọ́n n tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ni pé gbogbo àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí wọ́n á mójútó ní agbọn kọ̀ọ̀kan kí ni ó fà á tó fi jẹ́ pé à ń kó nǹkan wọ tó nǹkan ń tà nílò àgbà ìlàmójúnù ní jẹ́rù èrè ó pọ̀ ń tà nílò à ń kó wọlé ṣùgbọ́n tó bá jẹ́ pé a nílò ká kó wọlé oúnjẹ nǹkan kan bẹ́ẹ̀ káwọn àgbẹ̀ bí náà bó bá gàrí gbogbo ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ tán bá ń ráàyè ìpèsè tán ń encourage wọn ń kò bá yálẹ̀ lòmíì gan yóò gbàgbé pé rice láàárọ̀ lọ́sàn-án lálẹ́ tó nǹkan ó fi lè máa gbogbo wa náà ni a ní àti fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan kan tó wà níbẹ̀ náà ni pé irú epo ń sìn ẹ wòye tá à ń tán ní àná lórí ẹ̀ tó tá a bá rí pé a gbọ́dọ̀ fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ káwa náà ò rí pé kí la fẹ́ ṣe irú ètò iná yẹn ó yẹ kí wọ́n mójútó ẹni kọ́ mo lọ dáṣẹ́ kó lọ kọ́ṣẹ́ ó kọ́ṣẹ́ tán iṣẹ́ aṣerunlóge iṣẹ́ aránṣọ ńgbà kọ́ṣẹ́ tán iná di kíní okùn kó tún máa wówó jẹnẹrétọ̀ epo rèé kò ṣeé kọlù láti ti power gen àwọn fọganáísà ń sìn tẹ bá fẹ́ pọ́ fẹ́ táyà ẹ̀mọ̀ iye tó tún dà kì í sì ṣe bí wọn epo náà ló ṣàfihàn so wúrọ̀ àwọn gbogbo àwọn ìgbọ́nu báyìí ọlọ́run ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tí mo sọlẹ̀ ni pé kò sí mẹ̀sáyà o ọlọ́run nìkan ló lè gbà wá o kí àwọn èèyàn kéèyàn mọ́ ní hypertension ká má gbọ́ ká gbójú sókè sọba ògo ká sì mọ́ fàdúrà ran àwọn olórí lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run ó darapọ̀ mọ́ wọn ṣùgbọ́n àwa náà ibi tó bá ti yẹ ká ṣe ìkan tàbí méjì káwa náà gbìyànjú tiwa kọ́lọ́run dẹ̀ bá wa ṣe.
ẹ ṣe gan ni ẹ ti ní kò sí miss daya yẹn ni pé kọ́ máa wò pé tí Tinubu bá ti dé lọ́jọ́ Monday ní ìsinyìí
láàrin ọ̀sẹ̀ kò sí tọ́lọ́run ni kò sí ohun tó ṣòro ṣe fọ́lọ́run èmi gbàgbọ́ ọmọ kìnìún ní mọ́ ṣe aláìní bí a mọ́ pa wọ́n ṣùgbọ́n àti pé àbí àní ṣe aláìní ohunkóhun ṣùgbọ́n kí wọ́n mọ̀ rò pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ètò yàtà náà bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni o díẹ̀ n tó ti bàjẹ́ ibi ọlọ́run kan bàjẹ́ ní ọdún mélòó kan sẹ́yìn àwọn ò rí tún ṣe ṣùgbọ́n tó wá bàjẹ́ kọjá kínní kádúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọlọ́run ńgbọ́n bá gbà ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí àyípadà rere ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ sí Samaria ọlọ́run ó ti pé ọ̀wọ́n dọ̀pọ̀.
Mr. Leko Ogunyemi, the public analyst, he has been our guest on the second guest platform of Saturday Morning Trade. We'll be discussing the challenges before the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Thank you for making it to
the thank you for having me. To God be the glory.
Where we will be saying our bye on the second guest platform of the Saturday Morning Trade. We have another guest in the house. Please stay tuned. Yes, you are welcome back to the third guest platform of Saturday Morning Treat. Today is a special day, as we have mentioned earlier. It is the International Children's Day, where we are celebrating our children. We are all children. Yes, you used to be somebody's child, and if you still have your parents, no matter how old you are, you still remain a child to your parents. And we have a lot of issues concerning Nigerian children. A lot of issues. Out of school children, children on the streets, children who do not have access to basic things of life. These are some of the things we'll be looking at this morning as we discuss the Children's Day celebration and the significance. We have a guest in the house. Yes, someone who is so qualified to do justice to the topic this morning. Who's our guest, Daniel?
A former permanent secretary in Osun State and a woman who loves her children, who she herself already like a child. God bless you. Very good. It's Dr. Mrs. Olanyinka. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers at home. I'm Olanyinka Oderide.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
International Children's Day. What exactly does it entail?
Yes, it is the day set aside to celebrate our children, to draw attention to the needs of children, to bring stakeholders back and discuss and review the situation of things with children, particularly with 0 to 14. So it's a day across the world, though other nations celebrate on different days, some in June, some in August. but some in November. But in Nigeria, it is celebrated today. Incidentally, today is a Saturday.
Yeah.
And we grew up, you and I, we grew up to know Children's Day as, I grew up to know to march in the stadium, to expect, it used to be one of the very best days of our lives where we are free, because my own parents were teachers. You are not free to do what, to run around the house. But in the stadium, you are free to march and sing, particularly the military band, police band. And it's a day that makes children very, very happy. So that is what the international, but it's not just a day to wine and dine. It's supposed to be a day for us to think as a nation, as government, but particularly as parents, because education starts from the home and in the home, from parents with parents. So it's supposed to be a time to draw the attention of parents, and I thank God that this media house is doing that, drawing the attention of parents to the need of our children. So I would love to greet my children at home, particularly children of Osun State, to wish you a very happy Children's Day 2023.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Anidi says, child who shows man with whatever the society will be depends on the child, on the children of the society. But when you look at, you have compared the past and the present, then do you see any dichotomy between the two of them? How the day was being celebrated, then how is it being, because some people, the way they value the child is more than the other one. Economy is part of what is distracting the people's attention. I want to compare the past and the present.
With the children?
Yes.
Well, I really don't like comparing. Because if we begin to compare what childhood used to be in my own little life with what it is now, it makes me very unhappy. I ask myself, is it not the same Nigeria that I grew up? Is it not the same Nigeria that you and I know that this and this happened with children? Somebody was saying recently that children are now being indulged, that we take children for common entrance admission to schools. From there, we take them to JAM. In those days, nobody followed you around. As strict as my parents were, they didn't follow us around. They showed you the way and you go. But unfortunately, even if parents want to do that, the situation in the country will not allow that. You can't leave your child to go to Maiduguri. We used to traverse then. Federal government colleges, children will come from Ibadan, go to Warri, Federal government college Warri, and all that. But now, will you do that? There's no security in the country. The transport system is good, it's not what you can risk leaving your children. So the basis for comparison is very slim, if I would say it does not exist. But be that as it may, children remain children, parents remain parents, our future remain our future. The duties of parents remain the duties of parents, first of all, to raise their children for the future they expect.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Jeremy. Talking about raising the children for the future they expect. The home used to be more like a haven for children. But these days, there are children that actually dread staying at home because of the kind of abuse. You see some fathers, uncles abusing the girl child right there at home, and the parents are not aware of it. What is happening?
Well, we are losing value. We are losing value. In those days, I was on a program recently, and we all agreed that in those days that we grew up, if you did something wrong and your parents were not at home, people around will discipline you before your parents come back home. That will not pain you. What will pain you is the fear of them telling your parents. That's the prayer you will be praying, that they should just not tell your parents, because if they tell your parents, you have a second round of punishment. Again, it has become, I really do not know, our focus, permit me to say, even as mothers, have shifted. Women used to be a bit more subservient, then a bit more concerned about their children. If anything happened to a woman, the emphasis would be my child, my child, my child. But these days, that is not what we have. And that is why in those days, when a girl, the mother will know when a girl menstruates, because she's right under her nose. The mother will know. These days, mothers hardly know where their children are. We hardly know where our children are, not to talk of knowing what is going on in their lives. Unfortunately, again, when our children now come and say, they have not even started talking, they are like, they want to say something. The reaction from parents, daddies are not even there. Daddies are busy people, you know, they are not at home, they are there. But the woman that is supposed to know, permit me to say that women are supposed to know. For 9 months you carry this pregnancy. You went through a terrible situation of labor. And then you are raising these children. And then you raise the child to a point to leave the child. No. You are supposed to know. You know where you are coming from. But we are not there. So, because of the carelessness and the shift in focus of parents, daddies want to make money, mommies also want to make money. If they don't make money, they are looking for how they will japa. And then all manner of things. They want to be like the Joneses. So in the process, they hand over their children legitimately to those who will abuse them. Wow. Yes. Go and stay with Uncle so and so. Go and stay in Daddy so and so's house. And that is where the abuser is. That is where children pick up habits. That is where children will pick up things that they should not, ordinarily would not have picked up if they had been in their parents' homes. So children are, they say kilomodemo. But if you know the extent of damage our children are going through, you feel sorry for this generation. A lot of times we come and we say, children are this, they don't know this. We did not teach them. In those days, they taught us, you know, while in the kitchen, you get your training. When you are going to church, you get your training. When you make a mistake, you get your training. You get training all round the clock. But these days, where are the mothers? Mothers, please permit, don't be annoyed with me this morning. You know, we are supposed to, there are things that we need to do. Because you are not there. It's the house girl, the house boy, that are taking your positions. And they themselves have not been trained. No, they say train the trainers. The trainers are not trained. So our children are exposed to a lot of violence, particularly sexual violence. And we don't know. And that is the terrible thing. I'm a Christian. The Bible teaches that we teach women to be keepers at home. Well, keepers at home does not mean, well, it's good. It starts with knowing how to cook, dressing the home, making the home nice, and all that. But beyond that, is to know where your children are. Know what is happening to your children. That is a keeper. A keeper is somebody who will be taken to account on what is committed to your hands. Our children are committed to our hands. We are keepers. Men are not supposed to be keepers. unfortunately, we women are the keepers, and I'm saying it with all sense of humility, of responsibility, that we have stopped, we have failed that duty of keeping our homes. And that is why a lot of things are going wrong with our children within our society. Children are faced with violence, sexual violence. Children are exposed to drugs early in life. Children are exposed to, if children ask you questions, you will run away. But what? You know, there are things that a 5-year-old should not know, should not expectedly not talk about. But these days, if you talk about it, they engage you. They engage you. They know things. They know things. They know things, but they will just pretend they don't. And the reason is because you are not there. But some other people are there. And they are training them. And they are making them know what at that time they should not know. Because we have failed our responsibilities as parents.
Doctor, I want to take it from that aspect. Why some parents, because I don't want to say only women, because we have some fathers that take care of the children, even much more than the mothers, but it may not be common like that of the women. But when we look at economy, should we blame all these things on the economy or like a basic attitude of parents?
Neither. As far as I'm concerned, I always tell people that, well, I don't know if your parents were rich. My parents were not rich. The only riches that parents had were the children. The parents will tell you that you are our future. In fact, in those days when my mom would discipline you, she would tell you it's because she does not want to have a terrible future. And that she will not allow you to spoil her life by doing what is wrong. So it is not because of wealth. People will say poverty. Rather than poverty of money or affluence, I will say it's poverty of knowledge. Poverty of sight. We seem not to know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. Daddies are sleeping with children. I don't know if mommies are doing that. But a 4-year-old, you are sleeping, a 50-year-old daddy is having carnal knowledge of a 4-year-old.
That's a grandpa.
It's a grandpa to the child. So how do you explain that? Is it poverty? It's not poverty of funds. It's poverty of knowledge. That man does not know what he's doing. They said in some climes they will say he has psychiatric problem.
I think it's
some people will say that. Where I say it's not psychiatric. It's not in the main. You understand? But you see, we have failed to prioritize our lives. There is time for everything. Is that what the Bible says? There is time to look for money. There is time to get out of the house. There is time. If you raise a child properly, I always talk about the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church will say, I don't know if they still say it, but I grew up to know that, because I attended the Catholic school, that give me a child until he's 6 and I will give him back to you for the rest of his life. Which means all that the child needs is between 0 and 6. After that, the child is formed. Is formed. He knows he shouldn't go near here. He shouldn't do this. This is what you don't wear. This is what you should wear. It is not a child of 14 that will begin to bend, it will break. So we need to know that there is time for daddy to look for money, for mommy to also go about her job. I worked till I retired. I'm still working. I won't say women should not work, but I will say whatever it is you do, you will go on back and meet these children. And if we are not careful, it's not Yoruba that said it, the children you face to raise are the people that will raise by fire what you have raised with your sweat. Omota oko ní ògbélé ta kọta.
Thank you very much. Yes, before we go to the Yoruba aspect, let's look at the raising of children now and the advent of social media. At what age should children be given Android phone? You know, making them have access to the internet. At what age in particular? Because you see a lot of parents, you know, primary 6, JSS, and
the question is, what are they doing with it? Some of them will tell you they want to do assignment. Which assignment?
Some teachers send notes to them.
Notes. It is not correct. What kind of note are you sending on phone? That's why they have textbooks. I'm a teacher. We have textbooks. We give them list of books. But because, like I said, we have shifted our focus. The teacher does not have time. He wants everything easy. Everybody wants everything easy. And they will tell you that's not the way they do it overseas. But here, that's why we have textbooks. There is time. The fear of abuse, the fear of misuse will not make me encourage any child before university to own a phone. The fear of abuse. Because they are children. You know, you and I know that it is what you ask people not to touch that they want to go and touch. Even at the beginning of creation. Don't touch it, that's the tree they went to touch. You understand? So, but then if and when the children need to handle phones, it must be with guidance. One, I have observed that parents don't have time with children, with their children. If you have time with your children, today is Saturday, for instance, the problem is we're out there for partying for one occasion or the other. But there should be a day in the week we set aside for our children. This is social media, this is what to expect, this is not, this, and you let them know, this is hot, this is cold. When you tell a child that before he gets out of the house, before he even has his first phone, he knows what to do and what not to do. So I don't want to, the problem of social media is an entirely different problem. And it's a very huge one. In the social media, people learn how to die, how to commit suicide. I work against suicide. And a few people that we have talked with say they learn how to commit suicide from the social media. You want to steal, you learn from, there's nothing you want to do, you cook okra, learn from the social media. But they will not go and look for how to please God from social media. How not to tarnish my image and spoil my nation. They won't look at that. I've seen that the trend is always negative. And I go back to the parents. Because they came from us. They were from under us. Come to say, like Yoruba people will say, Abewa ni won wa. So we need, before you give them the phone, begin to prepare their minds. And like I said, 0 to 6. All that time, you need to put into the children all they need to know.
Okay, let us look at this, because some parents have failed. And what do you think that the government can do to help the situation?
Government is also a part of the problem. Government is a part of the problem. We are talking about the growth of children. We are talking, let me talk about education, talk about health, talk about justice. A child is assaulted and we report to police. Police will say, ask, or don't let me, I'm on air. But the kind of questions they have asked will embarrass you.
Ethical son Yorùbá nítorí gbígbé yẹn bí a ṣe ń ṣe àjọ̀dún àwọn ìwé ní káàkiri àgbáyé tí ilẹ̀ wa ní Nàìjíríà náà tó náà ṣe tó náà wà nira wọn, kí ni òpin ní ó yẹ kí a ká rí gẹ́gẹ́ bí àmúyẹ fún ìtàn ṣe lọ́wọ́ yìí?
Àmúyẹ náà ni pé ká wo bí a ṣe lè padà. Ẹnìkan ṣàlàyé ọ̀rọ̀ kan láìpẹ́ wípé gbogbo nǹkan là ń padà sí. Àwọn aṣọ ayé àtijọ́ àti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní wọ̀ padà. Àwọn bàtà ayé àtijọ́ náà là ń wọ̀, fìlà ayé àtijọ́ là ń wọ̀. kí ló dé tá a padà sí àwọn ìwà tí àwọn òbí wa fi kọ́ àwa kí ló dé tá a padà síbẹ̀ kí ló dé táwọn ìjọba wa ò bá wa wo báwo ni wọ́n ṣe ìjọba ṣáájú àsìkò yìí tí ó fi ń rọ tẹrú tọmọ lọ́rùn. Èmi rò wípé wọ́n ní tíwájú ò bá ṣe lọ èmi ò ní ká padà sẹ́yìn o but tọmọdé bá ṣubú yóò wò wájú tágbàlagbà bá ṣubú ẹ̀yìn ló yẹ kó wò. Kí ló gbé mi ṣubú? Ìbéèrè mi ni pé báwo la ṣe débi tá a wà gan àtẹ̀yìn àtẹ̀mí o àtijọba àti àwùjọ tá à ń gbé báwo la ṣe débẹ̀ kí ni wàhálà tó bá wa tá a wá sọ àwọn ọmọ wa di oríṣiríṣi jákujàku nínú ẹ̀kọ́ wọn jákujàku nípa ìmúra jákujàku nínú ọ̀rọ̀ sísọ nínú lílo egbòogi olóró nínú àìmọ̀wáhù kú ìgboro àgbàlagbà ó máa lọ ó pàdé àgbàlagbà lẹ́nu ọ̀nà àyàlẹ́ fi gbé wọn báwo la ṣe débẹ̀. Èmi ó gba wá níyànjú àti òbí àtàlágbàtọ́ àti ìjọba àti iléeṣẹ́ rédíò iléeṣẹ́ tẹlifíṣàn ká dàálẹ̀ ká tó ṣá pé kí ló mú wa kí ló bá wa gan nílùú ìgan tá a fi wà ní ipò tá a wà kí la sì lè ṣe ohun tá a lè ṣe náà là ń ṣe láàárọ̀ à ń pe àkíyèsí gbogbo wa sí ibi tá a ti ṣubú dànù aṣubú dànù o olóòtú adáǹkanu tó pọ̀ nílùú yìí o ní orílẹ̀-èdè yìí o Ọlọ́run bá nìkan ló lè ràn wá lọ́wọ́ àti nígbà táwọn ọ̀gá wa àwọn ìjọba àwọn tó ń ṣèjọba lé wa lórí tí wọ́n bá rí pé lóòótọ́ ìyà ń jẹ wá à ń jìyà kí wọ́n wá wò pé ó dáa nǹkan báyìí la lè ṣe kí wọ́n sì ṣe nípa ètò ẹ̀kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa pọ̀ research tí wọ́n ṣe láìpẹ́ wọ́n ní 11 million ni ọmọ tí ò sí nílé ẹ̀kọ́ láti ọmọ ọdún 6 sí ọmọ ọdún 12 níbo ni wọ́n wà. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ Boko Haram àwọn yìí náà kọ́ là ń lò ní à ń sọ̀rọ̀ gbébọn àwọn yìí náà kọ́ ni tẹ bá ń lọ bíṣẹ́ láàárọ̀ ẹ ra àwọn ọmọ kan kiri ọjà. Ìbéèrè tí mo máa ń béèrè ni pé tẹ bá ń lọ ní pàtàkì jùlọ tẹ bá ń travel láàárín ọ̀sẹ̀ tó yẹ kán wà ní class wọ́n gbé ìgbálérí wọn mọ̀ ta ọjà.
ọrọ̀ ajé ni.
ọrọ̀ ajé àṣìlò ọmọ ni o child labour lòyìnbó pé tó jẹ́ pé gbogbo ibi ló wà. Èmi ò ní pé kọ́ ọmọ máa ràn ìyá rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ bọ́ ẹjọ́ tiẹ̀ lọ school ẹjọ́ lọ school kó dé kó dìrọ̀lẹ́ kó bá yín ta ọjà tó lè tà níbi tí ẹ̀mí rẹ̀ ò fi ní wọnú ewu. Ọmọ mi ibi tó ti ń kiri ọjà lọ ni ọ̀gá ni àwọn bọ̀dá náà ti pè wọlé èló ni gbogbo ọsàn orí ẹ̀ yóò ní 200 naira tí n bá sì tà tán lè ní àlùfẹ́ pé ìyá mi lù 200 naira máa fún 500 jókòó ní ó bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní tẹ̀fá lára ọmọ yìí oríṣiríṣi bẹ́ẹ̀ níbi pé afẹ́ kọ́mọ kiri ọjà lọ.
Ẹ ṣe gan ni àkókò tí kò wá ń papá mọ́ra ṣùgbọ́n ká tó lọ ó ní àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan tí àwọn òbí sábà máa ń sọ ní ìsìn pé ìyà tó jẹ nínú ìfẹ́ kò jọmọ ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ibi tí yẹn ti bá wa dé báyìí.
Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí ìyà tó jẹ wá ó jẹ ọmọ wa ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀nà tí òfin ní jẹ ọmọ wa ni pé ká sún ṣòkòtò wa ká fa okùn ẹ̀ kó lè o kì í ṣe pé ká tún wá ìyà míì wà tó jẹ́ pé òbí ò mọ̀ mà wípé ọ̀nà tí ọmọ fi jẹ jákujàku ìyà ni wọ́n san o fún àpẹẹrẹ mo gbọ́ pé wọ́n ní àwọn àpéjọpọ̀ kan wà tí wọ́n ń pè ní yahoo mothers tó yẹ pé wọ́n gbààwẹ̀ wọ́n gbàdúrà mímẹ́ tó ń gbà sí fún àwọn ọmọ wọn kí ọlọ́pàá má bàa mú wọn tọ́lọ́pàá bá mú wọn bí wọ́n ṣe bọ́ àwọn yẹn náà wọ́n fẹ́ sọ náà ọjọ́ ọ̀la rere fáwọn ọmọ wọn ṣe mọ̀ pé irú yẹn ó ti dájú wípé ọ̀nà tí ọmọ wọn fi dojúbolẹ̀ òní wọ́n sán ṣùgbọ́n ẹni tó fi ọmọ ẹ̀ sílé ẹ̀kọ́ tó jẹ́ kí ọmọ mọ̀ pé ọwọ́ ọ̀tún ẹ̀ rè ọwọ́ òsì ẹ̀ rè èyí ìgbóná èyí tútù o tó o bá mú eléyìí tó o mú nísìn yóò bọ́ ẹ lẹ́nu o ṣe mọ̀ pé ọmọ ẹni ẹ ti ń tọ́jú ọmọ ẹ̀ sílẹ̀ fún kó má bàa fi ara pa ibi tí ọmọ òfin ní farawéwu ó ti ń tọ́nà ẹ̀ sílẹ̀ nígbà tẹ̀mí ń dàgbà mo béèrè lọ́wọ́ màmá tó jẹ́ bí ìyá àgbà fún mi wípé ìyá iṣẹ́ ṣọ́ níjọ́ wo náà wà mú mi ni ìyá mi wà mú mi wọ́n ní kí ló dé mo níṣẹ́ ṣọ́ pé ìyá ẹ̀ ló bí mi torí pé tó bá ṣe mọ̀nàmọ́ná nínú ilé wa ó gba sáìsì ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n àwa náà rèé lè ní pẹ̀lú oore ọ̀fẹ́ Ọlọ́run a sì lè gbàgbé nǹkan tó ti fi kọ́ wa kí ló dé táwa náà kọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa bẹ́ẹ̀ èmi fẹ́ gba àwa òbí níyànjú nílé títa ríro ńlá kọlà nígbà tó bá jiná tán ló máa ń dóge o ẹ fẹ́ kọ́mọ yín di lọ́ọ̀yà kó di adájọ́ ẹ lọ bí àwọn ìyá àwọn adájọ́ wọ̀nyẹn àwọn adájọ́ wọ̀nyẹn bí wọ́n léèrè wọ́n á ṣàlàyé pé kò rọrùn ìyá àwọn ò rọrùn bàbá àwọn ò rọrùn kí àwọn ọmọ wa lè ṣe rere láyé mo bẹ̀ wá àwa ìyá ní pàtàkì jùlọ ẹ má jẹ́ ká fa àwọn ọmọ wa sílẹ̀ ọjọ́ òní ọjọ́ ìyá ni o ọjọ́ àwọn ọmọ wa ni ẹ má jẹ́ ká fọmọ sílẹ̀ ká pàǹtètè èyí tí ò yẹ ká pàǹtètè Ọlọ́run tó fún wa bí yóò fún wa wò.
We appreciate you very much because you are a practical and pragmatic teacher and a mother.
Yes,
we appreciate you. That was the former permanent secretary, Osun State Dr. Mrs. Olayinka Oderimbe. We appreciate you on behalf of the corporation. We appreciate you, and on behalf of the producer of the program, Michael Adeli, and editorial advisor, Akiola Olabi.
Yes, we're saying very thank you to you. We're also saying thank you to our viewers for always being there, wishing all our children happy Children's Day. And we pray that the home and the country will be a better place for everyone. Thank you for being part of the program. Yes, this is where we'll be saying our bye on today's edition of the Saturday Money Trade. It is the last edition for the month.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for always being there. My name is Oluchi Amuda from
DBC Abidele Aderoti is my name.
Bye-bye.